Good afternoon. Thank you so much for staying here with me with this PV Manager training. We are going to start with a question that is, which is actually a PV Manager? PV Manager is our mounting structure calculation software. IBC Solar is a mounting structure manufacturer, and this is the reason why we need a tool we can do all the simulations we need to try to do in our PV Manager software, and with them we can calculate all the calculations you will need to secure your PV plant and your mounting structure system with our mounting structure systems. So here is the main view you have when you enter the first time in PV Manager. This is the project menu where you can write all the data you need for this for the project you are going to develop. In this case, by default way, you have the project number, but you can fill the following parts here with all the data you actually need. First of all, before try to start a new project here in PV Manager, I want to show you some little stuff you can do with PV Manager. In this menu, in the options menu, you can enter. And then there is a really important part here. There is the management menu where you can fill all these parts with your own company details. It's really important because you can use your company name, your address, the country, telephone contacts, and even if you want, you can put your logo, your company logo here to try to have it in the last report, because in PV Manager, when you finish all the process meanwhile you are doing the project, you will get, or you will be able to get a report where, if you want, if you put your company logo here, this logo is going to be added in the last report you can get from PV Manager. So this is a really good part that not every single customer that use PV Manager knows, but I'm here for the training, so I think this is a really good part in the beginning for doing the projects. When you fill all this part, it's only one time for fill. Next projects, you will have this information always in the reports you will be able to have with PV Manager. And there is another really interesting menu for us here. There is the own modules menu. Here you can try to introduce one module, the module you are going to use in the PV plant here, because PV Manager is a IBC software own software, so we only have in the database of PV Manager all of our products in our webshop. But if you work with modules that we don't have in our portfolio, you can introduce them here in this menu. The only thing you can do is add the module manufacturer, the module type, and all the mechanical and electrical data here. They are so important, all of them. For example, the distance from the hole to hole in the long side and in the short side of the module are not really important here in this menu. But for example, the length, the width, the weight of the module, the surface loads are really important. And if you want to have some production data with PV Manager, you can also introduce electrical data, all the voltage data, all the current data, for having a really good production simulation with PV Manager. So these are the main menus here and option in the options menu, and we can start again in the project menu for trying to develop a project here in PV Manager. If we have this menu done with all the parts we want to use here filled, the next step is going to location menu. This menu is really important because here is the place where you are going to introduce all the data you will need in the zone where you are going to develop your project for get into PV Manager all the data it will need for the calculation. For example, we are in Spain, so we are going to develop our project here in Spain. I'm going to put here the city of Madrid. For example, this location is fine for me with the postal code. Then when you decide the city where you are going to, or where you would like to develop your project, there you have this part that is data set. It's really important, this one, because this data set is going to be the place where PV Manager will get all the data. Mostly the cases for the production simulation. If you want to do one, all the data simulation PV Manager will need to give you this production simulation is going to be from here. Then when you decide the city, you will have the absolute altitude of the city. In this case, or in the point I chose, is 690 meters. And then I only have to choose 3 more options. The first one is the terrain category. And this is really important because if you don't know what is the terrain category or what means in the terrain category, you have here an information option where you can see and you can choose which is the perfect terrain category for you and for the project you are going to develop. The wind loads and even more important, the snow loads are not the same in the same place, even if you have a terrain category 0, for example, or you have a terrain category 3. What I mean with this, what do I mean with this? It's so important that if you are really close to the sea, for example, and you are doing the simulation as a terrain category 3, but the real PV plant is going to be really close to the sea, you are lying to to PV Manager. So the wind loads PV Manager are going to consider in the calculation is not going to be well, and they are not going to be proper for the final report PV Manager will give you when you finish the PV plant here in PV Manager. So this part is really important. For example, in this case, I am going to guess that our PV plant is going to be in terrain category 3. That is, for example, in the cases of suburban and industrial areas. And then I have to choose the snow loads and the wind loads I will have. How can I know these snow loads and wind loads? Is always depending on the regulations of each country. For example, here in Spain, for Madrid location, we will have snow loads 4 with 0.59 kilonewtons per square meter. And in the case of wind loads, we will have A zone here in Spain. So when we have all this menu done, the next step is going to go ahead in planning. Planning is one of the most important parts here in PV Manager. Why? Because here is the place where we can design our own PV plant. In this case, I'm going to do two examples because I think these two examples are really important and even they are going to be mostly of the cases you are going to work here in PV Manager. So I'm going to do two buildings. And I'm going to show you how you can work. Here, when you select one of the buildings, you have in the right place of the screen, you have the data of the building. You have the building width, the building length, and the first step when I have the perfect measures of the real building, it's choose the roof shape. PV Manager has 5 roof shapes depending on the considerations of the real building. So here we have to choose. The most important part here is choose properly, because if you don't, the final calculation of the static mass, for example, in the pitch roofs, is not going to be well. So here we have 5 buildings, and I'm going to choose for this case one pitch roof because it's mostly one of the generic building you can find and you can work with it. And here, for example, I'm going to choose flat roofs, one flat roof, one pitch roof. Also, because I want to show you not only one mountain structure from IBC. Also, I want to show you 2 or even a little more, but I would like to do one part of this training with our top fix systems and the other part with our aerofix systems. It's not a really important thing here in PV Manager, but it's very helpful knowing our own mountain structure. Because if you know them, this part is really easy for you, because if you need a pitch roof solution and you know which is going to be the material of the roof where you are going to work, it's really important knowing that, because with this you are going to have here in PV Manager the proper mounting structure for your future PV plant in the building. So here, for example, I'm going to work with a sandwich roof. That is a very common roof here in Spain, for example, and even in other countries. And I have to move one thing here. I want to change something, because by default we have 30 degrees of inclination of the roofs, and is not probably for Germany it's going to be a proper inclination, but for example here in Spain it's not going to be the proper one. It's not really common having 30 degrees of inclination. So in this case I'm going to change it, and I'm going to show you how you can change it, because it's really important here, keeping in mind one thing. And as you can see here, we have some overhang in the roof, and probably you don't have it in your real building. So the way to erase them is only put here 10. Okay, if PV Manager doesn't let you do that, you can change here, for example, 6.85. I have to point 6.85 here. No. Okay, so I can put here 9 degrees. This is good because with this, we can work, yes. So now if I can put 10, yeah, now I have it. Now I have it. This is so important in the live way, because you can have some problems when you are working with PV Manager, and in this case I have one, and I can solve it because I know how I can solve it, and I can show you which is the best way to solve it. So when we have the proper inclination, the only part is put the height of the building. I think, for example, I'm going to work with 8 meters. I think it's a really good building height. It's a common measure. So I'm going to, well, I have to do one thing here because it's not really common have one north-south orientation in a pitch roof. I think, for example, this one, yes, is much better option. Okay. Well, when I have all the building data put in here, the only thing I have to do is double click in the roof where I can where I want to work, and then going inside to the building where I can work. Perfect. This is the main screen where I can now work with the real placement of the modules, or where the modules I want they will be. So very easy in this case. We are only have the option of TopFix 200. This is our mounting system for pitches, for pitch roofs. I'm going to work with our IBC Solar module, and I'm going to choose, for example, this one. This one is good. And then I can choose all, and I can change every single option here, the clamp color, clamp type. But here I have 4 main options that I have to change without any doubt. The first one is here, is the fastener. Well, I'm going to start in another way. The first one actually is high bidding space. The high bidding space is the distance I have, sorry, between the biddings. And it's sorry, between the bids, and it's really important because if this distance is going to be less than 333 millimeters, I can work with our ecosystems that they are cheaper than our trapezoidal seat metal clamp option. But in this case, I want to work with our trapezoidal metal seat clamps, so I'm going to choose a space bits bigger than 333. In this case, I think I'm going to use 400 millimeters of the distance between them. And in this case, I have the trapezoidal seat metal clamp option, choose, and then I have to choose, I must choose these ones, the bidding height and the bidding width. By default, you have 35 millimeters of bidding height and 25 millimeters of bidding width. In this case, I'm going to let them like that because it's not a real problem, but you can change it, and it's really important you do it, because if you work with the correct, with the proper measures of according to the real building, the calculations will be much more good and much more realistic. And that is the really important part when we do this kind of simulations. Try to get the best results possible and the best and the real data and the real calculation when you work with this kind of softwares. So I am going to guess that this is the correct measures. And the sheet thickness is really important also, because less sheet thick is going to be more restrictive in the static calculation. So I am going to guess that 0.63 millimeters is the good option here. So when I have this part solved, the only thing I have to do is going to automatic module placement. And if I don't want to change here anything, even with the expansion joints, my recommendation always is not to change expansion joints, because it's really important. Respect the default expansion joints PV Manager let you work with. So I'm going to do the PV plant, okay, with all the module placement, and then here I can do all the change I want. For example, there is not any wrong message here, and I think this is the statics calculation, static factors PV Manager give you and let you work with. In this case, for example, what I can see here is I work with the display mountain structure. These orange points are the trapezoidal sheet metal clamps where I'm going to build and I'm going to install the our mounting rail. So the point is, according with the distance between the beadings, it's really important knowing that you can reduce trapezoidal sheet metal clamps in this option. So that's the reason why the distance between the beadings are really important here, because if you know this measure in a proper way, you will have and you will be able to do this possibility. You will be able to reduce, for example, here in a 3%, in a 30%, no, not more here. No, but for example, here a module carrier profile, it's little higher. If you are over 100%, you will have static measures problems. So the aim here is not over, in any case, 100%. But if you are really close, maybe it's not good enough. Maybe it's always depending the wind loads you will have in your in the country you will do this PV plant. But if you would like to stay in the secure zone and you don't want to force too much in the mountain structure, maybe, for example, in this case, it's much better work with only a 0.5% reduction of the supports. And here, for example, I think I can reduce it in the G zone, that is this light brown color. And for example, in the corner area, in the F zone, that is the brown zone, I think is, I can't reduce here any trapezoidal sheet metal clamp. So here, the thing I have just done is in this menu. Yeah, now I have less orange points than before, and I am respecting the the static factors. For example, if I want to force a message, a wrong message here. For example, if you have a problem in PV Manager, you will have these notifications. And in this case, fasten is not sufficient. That means I need more fixed points with our trapezoidal sheet metal clamp, because if we don't have it, we will have problems in the fastener between the roof, the cover roof, and our profile. So if I want to work respecting the static calculation for this PV plant, that is going to be the proper values. So I have this option, and it's really good because with this I can reduce the items I need to install the mounting structure, and with this I can reduce the budget also because the price is going to be less. So this is really good. But for doing this operation, we need to know, and the most important datum for doing this, for doing the thing I have just done, is knowing the high bidding space. But if you know it, you can do this thing without any problem. So when we have that, and we think this is our proper placement where we want our modules, I have only one more thing to say about this, and is this one. This red line is our thermal separation. It's really important because here the thing you are going to have is physical separation between two profiles. It's really important when you install the mounting structure, respect this thermal joint. It's really, really important, because if you don't do it, you will have or you could have problems when the temperature of the building and the mounting structure with these thermal dilatations can't destroy the trapezoidal sheet metal clamps, can move it, can break it, and you will have points of junction points with the roof, and between the roof and the mounting structure. So it's really, really important. Respect our, sorry, it's not here, it's here, our thermal joint. Okay, this is going to be the same for Aerofix. I will show you in the next building. So it's a really, really important part. We can do the same thing in the other part of the roof, but the process is the same, so I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to go right now. We start with the flat roof. Here is mostly the same. When you have the flat roof, you choose in the roof shape this option, and then it's really important to choose the covering, the real covering you will have. It's really, really important because here, as you can see, we have three options: bitumen, foil roof, and concrete. If you have bitumen or if you have concrete, it's not going to be a problem for Aerofix. But if you have foil roof and you don't choose it here in the covering option, the quotation, when you finish the project, the quotation are going to show you and are going to keeping in mind our base rail with the AK reference. AK reference for us is our base rails where our mats have a little and a thin surface of aluminium, and this aluminium the function of this aluminium is avoid the direct contact between the foil roof and our mat, because our mat can act in a chemical way really badly with the foil roof, and our mat can eat with the pass of the time. You can have you will have problems in your foil roof in the future if you don't use it. So if the real cover of the flat roof is a foil roof, you have to choose it here. If it's done, if it's not, if it's, for example, bitumen, concrete, or gravel, for example, here, you have to choose it. And it's really important keeping in mind the thing I have just said. So in this case, for example, I'm going to work with bitumen. And then, for example, in this roof, I'm going to suppose that the inclination is 0 degrees because it's a flat roof. And the building height are going to be 10 meters, for example. It's a common common meters for a flat roof here in Spain. Maybe I need to do it a little bigger. With the flat roofs, it's a very similar way to work than in the pitch roofs, but it's less options we can actually change or are really important to change them. Here, I have the IBC module. I am going to work with our Aerofix G3 east-west system with 10 degrees. But as you can see here, you can work with 6 options of our Aerofix system. But for example, in this case, this option is good for me. And then I will have to choose, for example, coefficient of static friction is 0.6 by default, because this is the measure we have standard in PV Manager. But you can measure this static friction coefficient with with one of our items we have in our portfolio. But if you don't want to or you can't measure this static friction, you can guess that 0.6 is the good one. If in the cover roof of the flat roof is a bitumen. Okay, and here I don't have to change too much things. For example, here I'm going to work with all lengths of our base rails because when the building is big, it's good to work with all lengths, because if you only work with maximum 2.3 meters and the building is really big and you want to cover most parts of the building with modules, you are going to increase your budget, because the maximum base rail you will be able to work is 2.3 meters, and we have 5.2 base rails meters. 5.2 meters base rails. So it's much better work with all lengths, and with this you will less the price of your budget also. And the most important part is, if I want to work in an east-west way, I need to change this orientation option and put it in 19 degrees. So when I have all these options changed, I have to change also the module, because now I can work with automatic module placement. In this case, it's really similar than the pitch roof as we could see before. It's really important the expansion joints don't change it, even because PV Manager is not going to let you. For example, here I can work with 11, but I can't work with 12, because 12 is not the maximum modules I can have in a module matrix by the wind tunnel certified. So here the most important, the maximum modules I can work with is 11, and the same with this 6 of here. So in this case, I have everything done, and now I have an east-west option. So when I have this, the static area here with this compass symbol is not important, because the most important part here is the modular structure, the visualize of modular structure. As I can tell you, as I tell you before, this orange base rail is our 5.2 meters. And here we have a lot of them. So with this option, we can reduce the final price of our budget. If I didn't do this option, it would be very difficult, or it would be have increase one price increase in our budget. So I'm going to work with this option because it's going to be the cheapest one. And here you can see that we have two thermal joints here, and they are going really important, and I am going to tell you why. In Aerofix, even more important than in a pitch roof with our top fix system, because I can force much better here some wrong messages, some mistakes that are going to be a problem, or could be a problem if I don't work with them in a properly way. The first one is I need to know how much ballast I have with this system. For watching that, I have this option that is the ballast showing, the ballast menu, and then here I have the real ballast I will need in this modules configuration. But if I don't do it this module placement properly, I can have some problems. For example, if I erase this, I have a problem with ballasting. And this is because I have this section of modules, and PV Manager can't make the maths for having the ballast of this line of modules, because this line of modules are not certified in the wind tunnel. If I want it, if I want the data, and if I want the proper ballast of this option, I have to add again here in this option, in the top of the modules, one more line, and then the message is gone, and I have the last resort I had before. But there is other common mistake you can find here in PV Manager, mostly when you are working with Aerofix, and is this what happened with these vertical thermal joints, because here I have an horizontal thermal joints, here I have 11 modules. As you can see, I have 11 modules here, and when I have a 12 line, then I need a separation, a thermal separation between these ones. But it's so important also, I need to check where is our, yes, it's here. It's really important also when I have this problem. If I erase these modules, yes, I have again a problem with ballasting. Why? Because I have here my thermal joint. It's alone, it's only with these modules. And then I have this problem. PV Manager can't make the maths for this part of the PV distribution. How I can solve this problem? Very easy. I have to separate the group of the modules. So I need to, for example, how much have it here? 14. Okay. So in this case, I can do this. I'm going to separate them. Okay. And then the part I need to do is, for example, in this case, it's very easy because I have here and here our thermal joints, but I have also 16, if I remember well, yeah, 16 modules in this line. So the only thing I need to know in this case is erase all of this. I don't have here thermal joint because it's a group of a couple of modules, but I can add them into the right place. The 14th I need, and then my thermal joint are going to be here. And now I have 3 modules before a thermal joint, not 1. So here PV Manager can do the math. And I have it. But the problem is these modules are really critical because they are alone, or it's a little group of modules. How I can modify this? Very easy. The only thing I need to do is separate these modules here. Sorry, I need to separate it. Yes. And then I must erase this one and add them again with this option, but only in this case I need to add 4 because I erased 4. And now, yes, the ballast is much better. So this is how you have to work, and you must work with Aerofix when you have a really bad ballast here. When you have too much ballast in a couple of modules or in one modules, you can play with the thermal joints to reduce and to improve the wind performance of our Aerofix system. And the one tip really important when you work with Aerofix is try to work with bigger group of modules. This group of modules, we call it matrix. And it's really important work with big ones because as you could see, if you don't do it, you will have too much ballast in these options. Then when we have our module placement done, for example, we're going to guess that this is going to be our future PV plant, okay? When you have it, and when you have finished them, you can go you have 2 options. You can go directly to the quotation menu, where you will have the budget, all the budget of the project with the pitch roof solution and with the flat roof solution, with all the pieces you will need to install the system according with the PV plant we have done here. But we have another option, that is going to connection menu. I'm going to explain it very quick. Here we can work and we can the dimensioning the PV system with 1, 2, or 3, or all inverters you need according to the modules you have in the planning menu. So, for example, here we should choose the manufacturer. I'm going to choose SMA, for example. You have here all the options that SMA has in their in its portfolio. And then when you have this, you have two options. You can go to automatic dimensioning or manual dimensioning. And then PV Manager, if you go to automatic dimensioning, is going to give the best options and the best performance options you can have according with the modules you have in the planning for the PV plant. Is a very easy way, because when you do it, you will have also in the budget the inverters, and it's a really comfort way to working with this. Is also is another option PV Manager let you work with, because it's a software that it's planned for helping our customers to get in the most quick way all the items you actually need for installing your PV plant. And it's not only a mounting structure calculator, then also it is, but you have these two options to work with them, and having more items in the quotations. Inverters, you can choose also the meters if you want it to measure the consumption of the system of the building, and even you can simulate a consumption and storage system if you know which is actually the real consumption the building has. So it's a very flexible software, actually. I only want to show you that options, yeah. So it's also true that it's going to be a little mess because I have two buildings, and it's but I think, for example, in the group one, it's only the first building I did, so it's the pitch roof. So here I think it's going to be very easy. I think, for example, if I work with 3 power X only, okay, I'm going to work with this 3 power. If I go to automatic dimensioning for the group one, that is the pitch roof, PV Manager is going to give me the best option and the best performance option also, not only in price, also in the performance PV plant. It gives me, yeah, it's because we don't have in our portfolio anymore the old sanity power. Okay, and I think, yeah. And what happens if I work with a core one? Let me check, please. Okay, I'm going to do other thing. I'm going to work with Fronius, for example. And I'm going to work with CMO inverters. And I think in this case, it's going to be properly. As I told you before, in this part, you can choose and you can simulate the production of the system, choosing the different manufacturer we have in our portfolio. It's a really important part. tell you that you can introduce modules in PV Manager, but you can't introduce inverters in PV Manager. It's a really common question we usually have about PV Manager. And no, in this case, you can't introduce inverters for doing these connection menu applications. You only have our portfolio options. Okay, so we are going to go to the quotation menu. Yes, in this case, project change. So PV Manager is asking me that if I want to save the change, and I'm going to say yes. Well, when we are here, we can see in the quotation menu that we have here all the items and all the mounting structure pieces we will need to develop our PV plant with the different modules we chose. In the planning menu with all the cable clips, the base rails, and for example here we have all the all the items, not only for Aerofix, that for example these base rails or the bad connectors, also for the top fix options, the bad connectors for the TF27T, that is our trapezoidal seat profiles. We have also the positive locking clamps, universal connection is for Aerofix. Support rails, in this case, the self-ring screws for Aerofix. So you have here all the items. And if you enter in PV Manager when your own customer account, you will have this and the final price, and the final price is going to be associated with all the discounts you have in the different pieces and modules and all the items you can buy in IBC Solar. So this final price is going to be your price, with keeping in mind all the discounts in each piece and each product. But if you want to add something, for example, in this case, inverters, and you don't want to go to the connection menu, you can do another thing, and this one is going to the group. In this case, group 1 is going to be our first building, that was the pitch roof, and our group 2 is actually the flat roof we did. So in this case, for example, in the group 2, I can add articles, I can add items from here, and it's not necessarily going to the connection option if I don't want to. So I can go here, and then, for example, if I want to add one inverter, for example, one SMA, and I know which one I want to add, no? Okay, and for example, if I want, for example, I want 3 of these, and the only thing I have to do is select this one, point here 3, put here 3, and add. It's very important because maybe you think that it was a problem because this screen is still here, but actually if I close it, I have here the inverters add in the group 2. All the items you add manually in the quotation menu are going to be with this kind of letter. This is because it's a really easy way to know which articles are from PV Manager and which ones are have been added manually in the base of material menu. In this case, in the group 2, because this is our building, for example. But in quotation, as you can see, the type of the letter is the same than the other one. So when we have our budget done, you can do two things. One of them is, if you need it, you can change the price of each item. If you want to earn a little more money in each product, or only in the products are going to be for you in a strategical way, much better to try to earn a little more money, you can change here. You can this is the price you have for this article, but you can change it if you want. And when you finish, for example, I'm going to write here 120. So if this is going to be my product price, I only need to do this option, click on there, and I have this price for this article. There is another option I didn't tell you, but not only I can add articles in the base of material, also I can erase them. For example, if I don't want here in the group 1, if I don't want, for example, this cable clip, the only thing I need to do is going to remove position, and when I'm going to quotation, again, I only have cable clip 0 degrees. I don't have any cable clip 90 degrees. So it's you can do a lot of change here. And it's really important because sometimes even you need to add a little more pieces. For example, I'm going to do it. If you need or if you want, I want more bad connectors because maybe I would lose some of them. So I'm going to add 10 more. I can do it from here, but it's very easy and very fast doing from here. So in this case, I'm going to go to edit number, and then I will receive 10 more than the first one PV Manager gave me, that they were the correct or the minimum quantities of bad connectors I actually need. But if I want more, I can do it in this option. And this option, as you can see, is for each piece, and even for the modules. If I need to add more, I can do it from here, and it's a fast option that going to add articles. But you have both, so actually it's not a problem. So when we have finished our quotation and everything is done for us, the last part in PV Manager is the presentation menu. And from this menu is where we can print our report, and even we can share with the IBC Solar Shop, with our customer account, or in your case with your customer account. You can share all the budget to the web shop, and even do the shop from the web shop. a very quick way. So the first part of the presentation menu, print the report. Here you can choose all the things you want in the report. The most common is the summary. It's very important because here you can have the information of all the data of the buildings and all the data about the wind loads, snow loads in one page. And for example, in the roof drawing are very common display of modules array, the ballast plan, the static report is really important, and the view of mountain structure are very important things that you can have in your report. And even in the report, you can have the quotation and the part list. The quotation is really helpful for you because you can have the budget in the report and you can give your customer, your final customer, the person who is going to be the owner of the PV plant, this report, including the quotation, including the budget, and even the part list. The part list with all the items and all the pieces you will install in your in the future PV plant. So the final thing we can do with this is going to print and then save it whenever we want, wherever we want. For example, in my case, I'm going to save it here. Now PV Manager is working to generate the report, and in a couple of seconds we will have the report, and we will be able to see it. Yes, here. Okay, very quickly. Here we have the summary, as I told you before, with all the information of the site data, of the information of the buildings in this case, because we have two, pitch roof and the flat roof. Well, in this case, we have some yield forecast, but I think it's not the real one because I only did it of one of the two buildings I have. This is the distribution modules in the flat roof with the position and the number of base rails I will need to install. This map is really important in when you are working in the PV plant, because here you know exactly where is the position and how many base rails I will need in every matrix. So it's really important and really intuitive. And then here you have, yes, the ballast report. Also, this map is really important in the during the job, because here you know in which module you need to put ballast and how much ballast you need to put. Remember that the ballast in our office system is putting downside of the module. And here we have the pitch roof distribution with the profiles, and remember that these orange points are going to be the points where you are going to install our sacrificial sheet metal clamps. This map also is really important during the job, because if you know exactly where the biddings are, you know where you will need to install our sacrificial sheet metal clamp. And here we have the study report, and where everything is good because we didn't have any wrong message, not in the pitch roof and not also in the flat roof. Here we have the static report of the aerofix system. It's very complex, and even we need other training to speaking about this one. But the most important part of the static report in aerofix is these two data. First of all, this one, the surface load. In this case, with keeping in mind all the wave of modules, mounting structure, and ballast, the surface load, according to PV Manager, is going to be 17.22 kilograms per square meter. It's really, really important data because, as you know, mostly of the buildings, it depends also the country where you are working. But for example, here in Spain, our common surface load for the flat roofs is 25 kilograms per square meter. So in this case, we are segregating and we are saving all the maximum support the building is going to is going to plan to support, because we are both of that 25 kilograms per square meter. That is the maximum load the flat roof, the cover of the building has support, can support. And we have also this number that is also important. The total ballast of the system is a really important number because this is going to be the ballast you will have to buy. So it's these two data that is they are in the report and in the final part of the report are super important. This is the static report of the pitch roof that you have also a lot of information that we will need another training for explaining it. But the most important part for us in this case is this one. Result of the static report of the pitch roof is that the system is okay. Then the two last parts of our report is quotation. It's like an offer actually, with all the pieces, all the modules you will offer, and in the final part you will have the price. This is the price without VAT, and the part list is the bill of material. Basically, is all the items, all the pieces you actually will need and will receive in the PV plant for doing the installation. And the last part of the training is show you how we can share and all the pieces you will need to buy with our webshop. How we can do that? We need to fill all of these options because from here we will know where you want to have you want to have the last. Sorry, you want to have all the pieces and all the modules, and what is going to be the place where you will do the installation. And as you can see, we need actually to write minimum 3 data. I'm going to embed them, for example, street principal, and postcode, it was this one, I guess, without 10, no, 2 zeros. Here it was Madrid, here is Spain, and although, oh, sorry, Sri Lanka, no. Spain. Although this country option is not needed to fill it, but I'm going to do it. So we accept, and then we will go through PV Manager to our this one, that is the login I used to enter in PV Manager. In this case, in your case, it would be your own customer account. And then I have this project. This is the project I have just done with this serial number. And if I'm going to the option add to cart, okay, I'm going to the basket. And here I have, even with a photo, all the items I will need to do the PV plant. So in this case, this is the final price. So I will go to continue, and then I can do the shop with all these options. And then this is the final part of our PV Manager basic training. Yeah, thank you for being here with me. I hope you enjoy this PV Manager basic training, and we will see you soon.